Presented by Church Tech U, it's Technobabble. On today's show, an introduction to and first impressions of the Slingstudio. Hi and welcome again to Technobabble. This is the original, longest running, except no imitations, Church Tech show created in 2005 for Church Techies like you. My name is Paul Allen Clifford. This is the second video in a series on the Slingstudio. Last time I unboxed it. Look for a link to that video below this one. And this time, I'll show you around how it works. So let's head over to my computer so that we can take a look at just what the Slingstudio does. When you fire up Slingstudio console, the first thing that you should notice is this. Wait for solid blue light, which it's talking about right here. Just plugging in the Slingstudio, it starts to blink, so it takes it a minute to boot up. That's the first thing. If I click it's solid now, then it will say, hey, you're not connected to the Wi-Fi. So I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to go up here and look for Slingstudio Wi-Fi. And I don't see that. Let's click out of it and click back. Ah, there it is. Sometimes that happens, and now I'm going to wait for that to connect. Okay, now I can do a couple of different things. I can open a recent project, or I can create a new one. In this case, I'm just going to open up this test recording project. And you'll see that I have some options. I can change the name, change where I want to record to, test the read-write speed. I can do recording and broadcasting, live streaming, or broadcasting only. And then I can go from there. Recording options, this is what I want to record. I can record the program out, which I absolutely recommend you do, but also I recommend that you record the video sources and line audio. You could do a write test speed here and it'll tell you how many you can record. I think I can record 6 with the SD card that I have in here, so that's pretty good at 1080p 30 at 5 megabits per second for the recording source bit rate and the program bit rate. I can change the destination right here, so I can do Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo, or a custom RTMP server. So that's pretty wide open. And then I can check the hotspot here. Let me just go ahead and click open. I'm going to click cancel on that because I really don't need it right now. The first thing I want to show you though is connecting a Slingstudio camera link for the first time. So if we go up here to sources, we see my camera links, and you'll notice that there isn't anything. So what I'm going to do is press and hold the power button on the camera link that I have in my hand. This is one that I don't think I've ever connected. So we'll do this, click on WPS, and I pressed and held it, and it's detected it. It's connecting to it, and it's going to update the firmware. So let me speed this up just a bit. Okay, now that we see that that is done, and I have in fact connected this, I'm just going to get out of that. And so I have a source right here. The next thing I'm going to do, my camera tilted over here, put that back, okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I've got the Slingstudio Capture app on my iPhone, so I'm going to click on that, and that should automatically join here, assuming that I was on the same network, which I wasn't. So let me fix that by going into Settings, and selecting my Slingstudio Wi-Fi. Then go back to Slingstudio Capture, and now you see it. So let me show you how the Slingstudio camera link is connected. I have two ports here, one for USB and one right over here for HDMI. I've got another Slingstudio there so you can see it. It's blue. It's a mini HDMI or micro HDMI, I can't remember which, but it's small, and the Slingstudio camera links come with the appropriate cable, and so you just plug in the blue one into the blue port, and then the other end you plug into your camera. And this is just a cheap Canon Vixia camera that I have. In fact, let me put that up in preview so that you can see that a little bit better. So there's my Canon Vixia camera, and you'll notice that there's some delay, some latency as I move over here. I'm on the Slingstudio, and now it's there on the camera link. So I can show that to you. One other thing, if this Vixia camera doesn't have a hot shoe or a cold shoe, so it's not useful for this, but if you have a camera with that, you can mount it on the top with this little doodad that comes with the camera link. So that's really a nice thing as well. So now I have these two sources, and you'll notice that I've got 4 places for sources. So I've got Cam 3 and Cam 4. If I click here, I can in fact add video clips. So I happen to know, actually let me go back, because on the internal storage yes. So I've got a countdown here. I'm just going to add that to the project. And its importing is complete. Now I can drag it over here, and it becomes the third of 4 sources. Now I can do that again, add a video clip. Again, video clips. Let's do this open. Add that to the project. Okay. Now I can put that here as my 4th source. And if I were to add this one, which is the same thing, it's just encoded differently, and add it to the project, you'll notice, here, click OK, that I can't add it over here. Won't let me replace either of these cameras. It will let me replace one or the other, but even though the Slingstudio can have 10 sources, I just can't replace it. So it will only let you use 2 at a time. Now, as far as video switching, preview to program is what you click. There's no auto trans, there's no cut. That's the whole shebang. To change the behavior of that, you can click on this, and that just moves this over here and keeps this as it was. So let me show you. Let me first change to a different, so that this is obvious. Okay, so see how they didn't swap? That's the difference here. But this way they will swap. See that? Here we have our different transitions. Right now I'm on a cut. I can do a dissolve. I could do a wipe, although I'm not shooting a Star Wars film, so I wouldn't want to do a wipe. And I could do a fade to black. Now pay attention to this. This is one thing that got me into production, is fade to black. As soon as you select fade to black, it fades to black. So, and then you have to bring the preview to program to get everything back. And then go back to whatever transition you want to use. So that is one little gotcha with this interface. Up here I can start the recording, I can start the live stream, I can add lower third here. This is for score, so wouldn't be perfect for the church market, but unless you have a game the youth group is playing or the children's ministry is playing or something like that. You can also add lower thirds. See, I've added one here. And then we can take them out just as easily by clicking down there. Now, what I want you to notice is, well, let me do this. Let me put this in preview. So, and pay attention here to this. I'm on dissolve. It just cuts in. So it seems like anything above this transition is only for the main line. It only works for these. It doesn't work for the text. If you just had text like this, it wouldn't work. Just cuts. If you had one of these graphical elements, same thing. Same thing with these video elements. Another thing here is we have the option of having a kind of basic mixer, but it works. We can change the delay on the line in. I've got my camera, I've got my iPhone, I've got the two video clips here, and so I have access to them. I can mute them all together if that's what I want, or I can turn them on, or audio follows video. So whenever I'm on my iPhone, I would get audio from my iPhone with this configuration. So those are the three things there. So what I would probably want to do is for the videos, if they had audio, I would want audio follows video on. For cameras, I would want that typically off, and I would want to get the audio from the line in, unless I'm sending audio into a camera or something like that. So that is how that works. It's actually a pretty good system. It's not perfect. There is a lot of latency. As I say, I'm about to, here, let me clear this out. And I'm going to put my hand in front of the lens in 3, 2, 1. There it is. You see how there's some latency there? So you really can't do iMag with this. That's just way too much latency. But for recording or for live streaming, that's perfectly fine. So it's really not intended to be a full-on video switcher replacement, but it does most of the work, and I think that as long as you're not doing iMag, and as long as you don't want some of the higher end features of a video switcher like alpha channels, etc., this system I can use it to key, so I could do this. Okay. Oh, there we go. Had to select the use chroma key to turn that on. But so you see here we can tweak this a bit. I can remove the spill, etc. Change the luma limit. You see how I have the ability to tweak that a bit. So I can absolutely do that. Put that on. Yep. See? So now I have this video where I've done a luma key. Pretty straightforward. Preview to program. And that puts that in and starts the video automatically. So I have a lot of power here, but there are still some things that I can't do. So don't expect this to be a $1,000 replacement for a $100,000 system. It's not that. But having the wireless cameras is pretty nice, and being able to add a new camera just by downloading the free Slingstudio Capture app is a nice thing as well. So those are my initial impressions of the Slingstudio. One of the biggest strengths of the Slingstudio is how you can start with a single HDMI source, or smartphones and tablets, and then ramp up slowly to full multi-camera recording and live streaming. If you'd like to learn more about this cool piece of tech, head over to my article on churchtechtoday.com, link below in the show notes, or keep watching for more tutorials like this one.